Cool, welcome to Broadfield Distributing's Liquid Lunch. Jim is on a much needed vacation, having fun with the family. I am here to do the show today. Gary Bettan, President of Broadfield Distributing. Today's show, we're going to talk about some exciting news for Broadfield with Broadfield West. We're going to talk about the state of the industry, what's gone on over the last 2 years, what we think is coming at NAB. And then we got a little special contest at the end of the show, so definitely stick around for that. I know Jim likes to do the liquid lunch. I'm more a bourbon guy than a craft beer guy, so I'm gonna fire up my Broadfield glass, which some of you may have remembered getting at. Yeah, I'm definitely spending too much time on this, Adam. At NAB last year. Cheers to all our dealers for tuning in. Thank you very much. If you like this glass, RSVP for our NAB cocktail hour at NAB this year, because we're going to have more of them to give out. Love me some Michter's. All right. Let's start the show and dive right in. We are very excited. Back in 2015, I made a 5-year plan for Broadfield Distributing that included moving to a new warehouse for the HQ and offices, and it also included in 2020 getting to the West Coast and opening something that I've been calling BDI West. Now, we've done some shows and let you know about it. COVID hit, travel became near impossible. California, New York were nightmares to get to, back and forth to, so that kind of got put on hold. Well, in 2022, we made it a reality. We found a spot, we got it up and going, and now today in 2023, I'm happy to report that Broadfield Distributing, BDI West, is fully functioning and operational. And I want to go through all the goodness that we hope that Broadfield Distributing, having a West Coast office in LA, as I call hashtag BDI West, will give you dealers added support, added service, and make your lives better. So let's go through that. First of all, we're located in East LA, well, about 20 minutes south of Pasadena, right where the 710 meets the 10. It's a little town called Hazard. We have over $1 million in inventory. We are committed that orders that we get by 2 p.m. Pacific time will ship the same day. We'll have next day delivery to Southern California, 2 or 3 day to most Western states, and more importantly, pickups are welcome. We know in LA, your customers like to wait till the very last minute and then realize that they forgot to order something or they need something or something else altogether, just frustrating. So we're happy to say that we're a 1-hour drive from almost all the different studios in LA, including the traditional studios like Paramount, Universal, and the new ones like Netflix and Amazon. You got to call in and place your order. We'll process the order, and then we'll schedule you a pickup time where you can come and pick it up. It's not something you just walk in and say, I want one of these. But if you place your order, we'll work for it. We'll make sure it's there and available for you to pick up that same day if we get the order on time. Also very exciting, as you see on the bottom, we now have a West Coast direct phone number. It's a local number. BDI West, call direct, 213-679-2378. That'll get you right through to our customer service and anyone else you need out there. Speaking of out there, let's go over who our staff is on the West Coast. We've got Alex, is our BDI West General Manager. There's his extension. Michael is our customer service order entry guy. He will be answering that direct phone line when you call it. We've got Jaime in shipping and receiving. And then we have 2 West Coast salespeople, Brenda and Brian. So please take advantage of our West Coast people and what we're bringing to you for that time period. So hopefully you guys are super excited about BDI West and what it can bring to you, but we want to know more what we can do for you. So what products do you want to see in BDI West? We have inventory on both coasts. What stuff do you say, boy, if they only had it on the West Coast, I know I could sell more. That would be a great thing. We want to see that. And I want to thank everyone for taking the poll as well. What product lines or vendors would you like to see us add? Is there whole categories you'd like to see us add? Are there specific vendors? Or you say, boy, if I could have that stuff at a distributor on the West Coast, I could sell a lot more of it. We're here to help you with that. Do you want a one-on-one call with our sales team to go and review our entire product line with you now that you realize we're on the West Coast and how we can help you with your sales there? And we're ready to do that. We're going to review what you've bought, what other people have bought, what our sales look like on the West Coast or overall. A lot of our sales reps are doing these reviews with their accounts all over the country, but on the West Coast, we really want to say, what can we do? What can Broadfield do to make it easier for you to do business on the West Coast? And we also want you to think about if there's an item that you say, you could do a one to show, one to go type of inventory system for new products if you have a local retail store in the West Coast, where your one to show is the one that's in your store, knowing that the one to go is with us. So as soon as you sell one, you can replenish. So maybe there's some product lines like YOLO or PTZ cameras that you were thinking about getting into, but you didn't really want to make the big inventory investment. Well, get enough to show you're in it, and we can back you up, and you can know you can have more of those goods available the next day. Or if you have a customer who says, hey, I'd like 7 of them, and I need them in this afternoon, you can send someone for the pickup. With those pickups, you can come in yourself, or you can send one of your customers and let your customer know they're coming in, and just, the order's got to be placed. We'll work it all through. It's not going to happen instantaneously, but we are very, very excited to be able to offer those pickups for West Coast people. So thank you everyone for taking that survey. If you could, if you're looking and you're watching the show on LinkedIn, that's great. If you're on the BDI Live website, then you can participate in our surveys. So that's a cool thing. And now I want to go to the next thing, which is I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about sales. Before we can forecast where sales are going, I think it's important to look at where sales have been. So there's a little graph that we put up there that's just, the reality of 2023 is that demand for PTZ encoding and streaming gear has plateaued. We look at all our streaming sales together. This is kind of the chart of what happened. As you can see, in 19 to 20, things were going good. 20 to 21, they exploded. It continued through 22. No one was sure, hey, is this going to level off? Is it going to settle down? What's it going to be? So I like to term it when I'm talking to people, were we going to get a camel hump where things went up and then down? Were we going to get a skyrocket of always up? Or are we going to get an up and then plateauing? Well, for us, what we've seen is that streaming sales have plateaued. So why have they plateaued? Well, let's look at it. If you've watched our shows, I've mentioned it and Jim has mentioned it. We got it first from Dr. Cross that what happened in the pandemic was adoption jumped 5 years ahead. The technology didn't, but people had to be able to stream. They were streaming services. They were doing distance learning. They were replacing trade shows and sales conferences with virtual events. So that level of stuff, anything that was tied to video streaming and coding, PTZ cameras, it exploded. We could not keep up with demand. And we were ordering as much stuff as we could. What happened basically was this whole boom got everyone unexpectedly, plus China had their own supply chain issues that were going on, and we were getting everything we could get our hands on. And we know, so were you. So as a dealer, if your customers wanted 20x PTZ cameras, and we were out of PTZ optics, and you could find another brand, you found it and you shipped it. People just wanted to have it. They just needed something to make it work. They didn't really care what it was. Demand was insatiable, especially in education and house of worship. Those things can't go on forever. So, those things leveled off and the sales started coming down, but it's still a very strong level. So now let's look at what we're recommending you do to keep your sales higher and to potentially keep those COVID customers that you got reselling stuff for you. And what I mean by that is there any dealer, you got to admit, when you look back over the period of 2020 and 22, you got a lot of bluebird sales from people who maybe weren't even in your wheelhouse. People who all of a sudden would call you up and say, hey, I'm a school district. Can you get me 10 PTZ cameras? I'm a corporation. Can you set me up with a quick studio in our conference room so we can stream our sales conference or do sales training, to our staff? Everyone was scrambling. Well, those end customers are still around, and as a dealer, you should be reaching out to those customers. Go look through who bought stuff for you during the pandemic and call them up. Don't ask them to buy more stuff. Talk to them about what they're doing with the stuff you already sold them. Then talk about them. Do you need better cameras? Are your cameras getting the quality? Do they have the zoom you want? Did you get the right cameras? Can you use more cameras? Or maybe you want to go multi-camera. How can you improve your streams? Do you need a better encoder? Are you integrating Teams and Zoom? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to create hybrid events? And more than that, are you thinking about going into a true multi-camera production where you have more than one camera, which can really increase the production value of a show? Like I'm going to turn to this camera now, and you can see it gives you a little better feel. It breaks up the show a little bit. And what I want to stress here is that the best way to grow your business, as you've done it, you're around, is talking to your customers. don't forget to talk to those Bluebird COVID customers who you started doing business with. Maybe you got into a different vertical, education or a house of worship. Well, keep at it, keep talking to them, seeing what stuff they need. Work your existing customer base. That's the best way to grow sales in a flat or a down market. So if you could, I got a little survey up there. Please tell us if you think sales are going to be up a little, down a little, flat, whatever you got. We'd love to hear from you and hear what you're thinking your sales can be. This is the part of the show I'm really looking forward to. Call it my little crystal ball section, trends to look for in 2023. So let's talk about the trend we're in right now. And I'm not a financial analyst or an economist. I'm a business person like you guys are, an entrepreneur. But this is where I think we are, and that is Q4 was soft for our industry. It was soft for a lot of people, retail, clothing, electronics. We didn't really see that big hit of year-end money like we've seen in past years. And we're having a kind of soft Q1. It's not a terrible Q1. This Q1, if it was 2019 or 2020, at the beginning of the year, I'd have said these are great numbers, but based on the fact that we had that big rise and we're in the plateau, it's a little frustrating. What's happened? Well, we all know in the technology industry that we have suffered from what I will call poor product introductions. It's been across the board. A lot of our vendors and vendors we don't sell, where they've introduced products they couldn't ship or introduced their products that they were now shipping on top of products that they already had and that you already had an inventory. So it's more inventory on more inventory without enough differentiation. Or it was a situation where they introduced a product, they said they had them, they had a first shipment of say 100, and then you couldn't get more product till last week. It's been a crazy time where it's not just supply chain issues, but it's just planning and it's proper. It's hard. For a product manager, I can tell you, it's a very tricky job when you're selling a product that's got a run rate to figure out, when do I blow out the old stuff so I can start shipping the new stuff? And, it's kind of an art, and it's kind of something that's really rough, and it's very hard to do when you're on this, just this freight train of getting and selling everything you get your hands on to a business that's kind of, as I said, leveled out. So some challenges ahead. So also, while the insatiable demand is over for PTZ and coding and streaming, it is still a very good, very lucrative business. Everyone might be selling a little bit less, but you're still selling far more of it than you were 3 years ago. And a lot of you didn't even know it was a category 3 years ago. The best news is that the supply chain issues appear to be behind us. For the most part, all the products we want, we can get now in our inventory. Obviously, the trick to that is new product introductions, which sometimes are a little slower on a rollout, but that's always been the case in our industry. But the actual supply chain seems to be normalizing. I know in China, they had another kind of round of COVID and stuff like that, and potential lockdowns, but it was during the Chinese New Year when China's unavailable for us for production anyway. So Chinese New Year is behind us, and all our vendors from the Far East are saying they have inventory and the factories are back up and running. So we're excited. And of course, what's around the corner? NAB. And what does NAB mean? New products are coming. So one of the biggest product categories and opportunities I want to talk about in 2023 that I see coming is that I think 4K and HDR are really going to come on strong. During COVID, what happened is everyone just had to make IP work. We just had to make stuff work. So IP and streaming jumped on board, and everyone was just saying, let's just make this HD video look good. And in fact, if you'll recall, during the bulk of COVID, the video that we watched and consumed from mainstream television, be it sports shows, late night TV, talk shows during the day, were kind of poor. It was a talking head that would be out of lip sync, poorly lit, breaking up, what have you, because everyone was just trying to make stuff work. They weren't really caring about the video quality. They did the best quality they could given the situation. They were bringing people in on Zoom off of their webcam, for crying out loud. But the most important thing was get that content out there. Well, those days are behind us, and the companies that have survived and thrived through that, and I'm not talking about you as the dealers, I'm talking about who your customers are on, the production companies, the networks, the people like that, the post houses, the facilities, the filmmakers. Those who've done well, I think, are now focusing back on where we were looking at before the epidemic, which is 4K and, more importantly, HDR. And what I want to stress is that, for me, these two things go together, and it's real important because when you look at like surveys, or people were looking at going to their Best Buys and getting asked about how they thought about the TVs they were seeing and what they were seeing on the TVs, most people couldn't really see a noticeable difference between a 4K TV and an HD TV. Then they would show you a HD TV and turn on HDR, turn off HDR with the programming, and it looked a lot better. And the real holy grail, turning it up to 11, is 4K with HDR. And I got to tell you, I was very impressed because I have a 4K TV, and this year in watching football, watching the NFL with the playoff games, it gave me the option to go to 4K. And in the past, really, half the time all I was seeing was an upsampled 4K HD image to 4K. But this year, I could really see that I was getting true 4K Ultra HD on a lot of those football games. And I got to tell you, they noticeably looked better. You could just see the difference when you combine those. So you got companies that have money now. They've gotten through this pandemic period. They're ready to reinvest in their productions, quality of their productions. And what do we have going? Well, we know that during COVID, we figured out IP workflows, and it just so happens that IP makes 4K easy and better. Why? If you remember, 4K required new wiring for a lot of people. If you had standard SDI cabling, you're going to have to go to 12G or do multiple cables through the runs. Well, now we know that we can successfully run 4K, Ultra HD, and beyond over our standard networks. We're using NDI, SPP 2010 is coming out. There's all these technologies. IP is really here. We're very excited. And even cooler is those remote and cloud workflows that we started using during the pandemic are now functioning in 4K Ultra HD workflows. And, there's some real exciting stuff that's going to be out there, and we're really looking forward to it. And those are some of the new technologies we think we're really going to see at NAB this year. So I'm going to say all of the above for the survey because that's the kind of guy I am. I'm an all above guy. If you're not going, let us know that you're not going, but please fill out the section where the section where we're asking you about what you think about NAB and the show that's coming. Okay, next. What should you be looking for at NAB 2023? Well, number one, remote and cloud workflows will take center stage. A lot of those workflows will be around 4K and higher resolutions and workflows. So I think the first 2 points will almost merge together seamlessly when you're looking at it. But let's think of some of these remote and cloud workflows that we're excited about. You've got Avid with their Nexus Edge. You've got Atomos working with Adobe and Frame.io with their Connect technology. You've got the Bird Dog Cloud. You've got New Tech using NDI Bridge and the technologies they have. It's really amazing what's happening as far as being able to produce shows remotely. We've got JVC with the JVC cameras have a remote workflow. PTZ Optics is adding remote workflows. A lot of stuff that has NDI now has SRT, which opens up a world of workflows. And you're going to see these remote workflows and cloud workflows happening both in post-production and live production more, but in post-production there's equally a lot of things that are changing and happening that are very, very exciting. So we're excited about that. And then the other thing that's happening is really the pandemic started it and launched it, but it got really crazy. And that is that the three worlds of pro video, AV conferencing, and digital signage are just converging and disrupting each other as technologies from one area get brought into the other and technologies merge together. And we're expecting a whole ton of stuff like that. And there's no better example of that than what Bird Dog just introduced last week, which is they now have digital signage, TV multi-view with Bird Dog Plays. So you could use NDI and have 4 Bird Dog Plays hooked up to 4 televisions to make a video wall, or 9 cameras to make a video wall. So that's going right after the digital signage business using technology that's like pro video technology. So we're really excited about stuff like that. We're looking for other things that are merging together that's really cool, where, Panasonic now has their audio group where you can mic people up and their PTZ cameras will automatically follow the mics, which is cool for AV and live production. There's just so much cool technology I'm looking forward to seeing at the NAB show. There's new storage technologies that are coming out. So we'll be at NAB, and I hope you'll be at NAB too. And I told you we're going to have something special at the end of the show. So here it is. Can you bring that up full screen, Adam, please? The new Broadfield Distributing desk mats are becoming available. This year's desk mat has all our sales reps. It's got our calendar of events. It's got our line card. And then on the calendar events, let's look at it. Now, what's not up here is our virtual events, but we have EduStream coming up next month. So if you're into selling into the education market, Adam, if you could bring up that lower third. EduStream will be here. So, sign up for EduStream TV and also have your customers who are into education sign up to watch that. We have Cinegear in New York and Brooklyn, March 10th. We have the NAB show, April 15th through the 19th. But what I love about this calendar is we give you all our events, our Met game, our NAB show cocktail hour, NAB New York. It's all up there on there. And now I want to bring up the last little thing. This is my little contest. I didn't even tell my sales reps I was going to do it. Please tell us who your sales rep is. And the sales rep with the most clicks, I'm going to give a $50 Amex gift card to. So I'm going to leave this part open for a little bit longer as people can click in and tell us who their rep is. And hey, if you're watching and you're the rep, select yourself. I don't care. It's all about getting the most votes, folks. Figure out how you can do it. I don't care. We're interested. We're excited. But this line card's really cool. I love this mat. If you want this mat, call your rep and just ask. Say, hey, send me one of these free desk mats, and we'll get them out for you. I think they're about 2 weeks away still, but we'll have them there and we'll have available. And I just want to double back to Broadfield Distributing West. You can bring up that lower third. We have a dedicated phone number you can call. So I want to remind everyone that now if you're on the West Coast, we have an LA phone number, 213-679-2378, same 4 last digits. And you can call BDI West for customer service. You can get tracking information. It'll go straight through to Michael. He can always work with us on here if he needs to. But we're really excited about the West Coast, and let us know how the West Coast can help you if you're a West Coast customer. If you're in California, Southern California, I get it. If you're on the West Coast, up or down, next day, the shipping stuff will be there next day. And for about half the country, it'll be there in 2 or 3 days. So we're really excited about having that there with Broadfield West. This was Gary from Broadfield Distributing. Thank you for coming to today's Liquid Lunch. Jim will be back next week to prepare this stuff for you and show it to you. But by all means, give your reps a call. Say, hey, I voted for you, or I forgot to vote for you. I'm sorry. And by the way, get me that mat. And I want to know more about the West Coast, and tell me more about what you're looking for at NAB. I want to make an appointment with you to go around the NAB floor and meet with you. Let us know. We're looking forward to it, looking forward to the year that's coming. Like I said in my forecast, I think Q1 is going to be rough, but I think we can come out of Q1 with a strong March into April and through to the year. So thank you everyone for tuning in to the Broadfield Liquid Lunch. This is Gary from Broadfield. Jim will be back next week. Cheers.
Broadfield Distributing is a value-added distributor of live production, streaming, video editing, and storage products. We only sell to resellers. We are always looking for new dealers. So call us at 1-800-634-5178 or email sales@broadfield.com. You'll like doing business with Broadfield because we make it easy to do business.